Alright, are we back? Is this working? I really should just... Alright, so here we are, back again. We're in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. We've got one more shiny hunt to do. Well, okay, we might go back and do Poliwhirl. I don't know, but we've got Scythers, which we need to get 2 of. We've got Lapras, which we only need 1. We'll probably get 2, but I think we only need 1. I don't know, we might just get the 1. It depends on how long it takes. And then we need to get Porygon, which we just need 3. Luckily, all these shinies are a lot easier to see. The hardest one is going to be Scyther here, which the shiny is pink, but only on, like, the stomach and, like, the arm ligaments. So only in very specific spots is the shiny pink. Lapras is purple, and then Porygon is blue. So that's kind of all we got to worry about. This is going to be the hardest one. For the show tonight, we have the main topic of the show, which is Switch 2 pre-orders, because those happened on... I mean, if you're on the East Coast, they happened Friday or Thursday at midnight, but if you're anywhere else, they happened at a different time. Right down here in Texas, they happened in... Well, some part of the state was in Central Time, but where I'm at, it's Mountain Time. And so mine was 10 o'clock. And of course, if you're on the Pacific Coast, it was at 9 o'clock. So earlier in the evening. So we got that to talk about, obviously, on the 23rd. And then we have 3 news stories. 2 of them are Nintendo Switch 2 related. 1 of them isn't. Not that I have much to say on the one that isn't Switch related, but I do want to bring it up anyways, just because, you know, it is neat. And then we have a very short WIBE. I've got 2 food things. I've got a single video game thing, which isn't even really that much of a video game thing. Like, no real major updates there. I might have an anime thing. I have written in my notes just something else. And I'm assuming what I meant by that was an anime thing. But I do not remember when I wrote that, like, 5 or 6 days ago. And so that should be it. Because I haven't seen any movies. I know I want to see Sinners. I do. But I'm not a horror guy. And so it's just kind of... You know, you kind of got to psych yourself up for it. And really, outside of, like, Jordan Peele movies, it's kind of hard to psych myself up for horror movies. Because really, the only horror movies I've seen in the past, like, God, like 10 years are all the Jordan Peele ones and the It movies. That's it. I don't watch horror movies. I'm sure there's like 1 or 2 in there then, because like something like It's What's Inside, I would not count that as horror. That's more dark comedy. But I'm not really a horror guy, and this might also, I don't know how much of a horror this is. Like, it might be more dark comedy than it is horror. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm very interested in Ryan Coogler's Sinners. But I just haven't seen it. Of course, next week when we get to Thunderbolts, I'll have seen that by next week. So fuck, man. Yeah, that's the show tonight. You know, we'll go for like an hour and a half. That's my plan at the moment. We'll see if I actually stick to that. But that's what I'm aiming for. So my allergies have been killing me. TMI. I have like mucus stuck in the back of my throat, and it's killing me. It is, especially when it comes to sleep, man. It's so, like, it's already, like, I already struggle with falling asleep to begin with. You know, who doesn't? But it's been especially bad because of allergies recently. Oh, it's been awful. But just be aware of that. I mean, when don't I come out, you know, to stream and I have to cough, I have to sneeze. I feel like that's just every stream we do. At least every stream where I'm talking for, like, more, like, for, you know, 30 minutes straight. Alright, let's do our topic of the show. So, Switch 2 pre-orders. So, Switch 2 pre-orders went up April 23rd at 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I will, for every story tonight, for everything tonight when we talk about pre-orders, because of course I'm going to tell my story, I will be using Mountain Standard Time. So just be aware, everything I'm about to say happens in Mountain Standard Time. Be aware of that. I should also say, while all of this is going on, I have everything pulled up on my computer, but I also have a second copy pulled up on my phone. So literally everything I try to do, I'm trying to do twice, just with the hopes that at least one of them goes through. Not a guarantee that, of course, anything will go through, but just on the hopes that one thing goes through. Between, you know, in the second I got a notification on one that it would go through, that would be my plan, to just quit out. And yes, this did work out for me somehow, but we'll get to that. I guess I should start off by saying, yes, I did get the Switch 2 pre-order. I was able to get one, so just be aware right off the bat. Yes, I do have one. I am happy that I have one. Sure, did I spend a fuckload of money? Yes. Yes, I did. But I have also been saving up for the Switch 2 since, what, September of 2023? I basically, in September of 2023, I started saving for the Switch 2 under the assumption that it would be releasing a year later. I had enough money to buy a Switch 2 by like June of last year, and I just kept saving money. So I basically had enough to buy 2. So yes, I've been saving up a long time for this. You know, this isn't just some brash financial decision. You know, this isn't just blindsiding me. I've been saving for this for a long time. Because I knew this was coming, and I knew I was going to buy one regardless. Because, you know, I bought a Wii U. Okay, I didn't buy a Virtual Boy. But, you know, I've done some stupid Nintendo stuff over the years. Even if it's a failure, I'm at least going to give it a try. You know, I bought a 3DS at launch. You know, back when it was stupid expensive, before the price cut. Yep, I was an ambassador program guy. So just be aware of that going in. So we start off, it's pre-orders open at 10 o'clock. I have Wario64 pulled up on Twitter, of course. I'm checking through his Twitter, and he says at like 9:58, hey, Walmart pre-orders have gone live. Boom, on my computer, I open up Walmart pre-orders, and they put me in a line. Alright, I'm in line at Walmart immediately. I will be honest, I expected nothing from Walmart. There were 3 places that were going live this night. Walmart, Target, and Best Buy. My goal was Best Buy. I have had good experiences with Best Buy. Best Buy has been the least likely to cancel orders. They were the one I was hoping for. That was my goal. Target, I would have taken Target. Target has done me dirty in the past. I'm specifically talking about Amiibos. Target has done me dirty in the past, but I trust them more than I do Walmart. Walmart, I've only ever gotten good with twice. I'll give them 2 times. Other than that, Walmart has mostly screwed me over. Walmart has not been a great place to get stuff. Best Buy has screwed me over, but only when it comes to, like, getting stuff on release date. So, like, if I want to buy, let's say I'm buying, you know, a new game, Best Buy screws me over, not by, like, canceling my purchase, like, oh, let's say I bought, like, the Breath of the Wild Collector's Edition, or Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition. I pre-order it through Best Buy. Yes, I get it from Best Buy, but I don't get it on release date. I get it, like, 3 days later. That's the only way Best Buy has ever screwed me over. I've had Target cancel an order. I've had Walmart cancel an order. So Best Buy was kind of my hope there. So I'm in the Walmart line at 58. And I just have that going on in the background. I check back every few minutes. For Target goes live at 10. Immediately, I'm refreshing the page, trying to add it to my cart on PC, and trying to add it to cart on my phone. I get it in cart on my phone. I then refresh the page on PC, where, because it's the same account, it's now in my cart on both mobile and PC. I already had my account order information, my address. I already had all that information in there. That had already been done. I did that like 3 hours earlier. I was already prepared for that. So then from there, you start clicking place order. I click place order on the website, doesn't work. Click place order on the phone, doesn't work. I keep going, I keep refreshing pages. I close out the app, open it back up, still in the cart, and I just kind of keep refreshing, placing orders, and it's not really working. Eventually, it keeps giving me this error that something went wrong. It deletes my address information, so I have to re-enter my name and address. And then I get through that, it adds it back in, and then it deletes my credit card information. So I then have to re-enter that and try again. So I'm at Target, I'm trying. Meanwhile, I keep occasionally refreshing Best Buy, just waiting for that to open. And then Target never goes through. So when you order something on Target, you hit place order, and it'll take you to a new page that says like order confirmed and give you like your confirmation number and everything. I never got to that screen. So I never saw the order confirmed page. I did, however, get an email at like 10:10. So it had been like 10 minutes. I get an email from Target that says, hey, here's your order number, order confirmed. So even though I never saw the checkout, right? I never saw like the completed order screen. I never saw the checkout screen. I got an email from Target saying that yes, your order is confirmed. Already, this sounds shady as hell. The fact that I never saw the checkout screen already had me a little bit worried. I got the email, which was nice. Usually, the email is like the second step of the process. After that, like if I had gotten the checkout screen and never gotten an email, I would be way more worried. But that was nice, having the email, even though I never saw it, and it was something that popped up on my phone, right? I just get a notification, new email on my phone. Hey, guess what? You now have a Switch 2 pre-order. So that's how that happened. But obviously, I didn't trust it. Would you trust that? If you never saw the order confirmation screen, would you fully trust that? I didn't fully trust that. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, I did not trust that. Like, sure, it was nice. I was able to go on Target's website. Like, I was able to, click, the review order button. And sure enough, on their website, it says the order's placed. It's still, if I pull it up right now, it will say, hey, you have pre-ordered this console. Admittedly, it does say that it will not arrive on release date. I think it says it'll arrive on, the 9th. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not going to double check it. It'll arrive somewhere between June 5th and June 10th, is what it says. But it says it's pre-ordered. It says it'll be delivering in the mail. So yes, I can still, as of this moment, see it. But at the time, I was very worried. Especially because, looking through the comments on Wario64, a lot of people got order confirmation screens just to have their orders immediately canceled. Target was confirming orders, and then a second later, sending an order canceled for them. So yes, this was happening. So I'm very worried about Target. Even still, 2 days later, I'm still thinking oh, any moment now that Target order is going to be canceled. Because Target, I guess, canceled a bunch of orders. So I'm kind of okay, I technically have a pre-order. but I don't feel safe. I do not feel confident in this pre-order. I'm still in line at Walmart. Nothing has changed there. So I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to keep going. Let's see if I can get one at Best Buy. You know, I feel a lot safer with that. You know, I can always cancel the Target order later. Or, you know, do something else with it. Not scalp it. I will not scalp it. But I was very suspicious. So Best Buy, you know, we're just kind of waiting around. 30 minutes in, 10:30, Best Buy opens up their thing. I see the notification on Wario64's Twitter. I click the link, opens up the Best Buy app. I'm in line almost immediately. So I get in line for Best Buy. And I know I could have... I tried to refresh it on my computer to get in. So I'm trying to get the Mario Kart bundle, by the way. This entire time, I have the Mario Kart bundle at Target. I'm trying to get the Mario Kart bundle at Best Buy as well. So I'm trying to get that at Best Buy. I keep refreshing the Best Buy website, and it never says pre-order or get in line or anything like that. It just says coming soon. I keep reloading the page, and it just says coming soon. So even though I'm in on my phone, I cannot get the website to load. I can get the website to load for the non-Mario Kart bundle. And I thought about, like, oh, maybe I joined that one just in case on the computer. I ended up not doing that. I just did Best Buy on my phone. And I was like, you know what? We'll see. We'll see. I'll stick it out. So that's what I'm waiting for. So I'm in Best Buy. I don't know, like 10, 15 minutes later, Walmart pops up and does this thing to check, like, hey, are you a robot? It asks me, are you a human or a robot? And all you have to do is click a button, hold it for a few seconds, and then it's supposed to take you to the next screen. I click the thing, hold, are you a robot? Nothing. It just stays on that page loading. Eventually it says, please try again. I try again. And so for the next like 10, 15 minutes, I'm at Walmart. And it just says, press and hold to see if you're a robot. I press and hold. Nothing. I just keep trying. I never got past that screen at Walmart. For some reason, it thought I was a robot and would not let me through. So that sucked. That sucked. And then I look at my phone and it refreshes. But instead of giving me the checkout screen, it kicks me out of the line. It says like an error has occurred, or, you know, so it says something happens, you've been removed from the line. And I'm like, fuck. I don't think it says I've been removed from the line, but it says like an error has occurred. So I click OK, like I hit whatever the button is. It takes me back to the screen. I click pre-order again. It puts me right back in line. This is at like 10:55. So, you know, I've been in the line for like 25 minutes at this point, and I was like, fuck, that's it. If they kicked me out of line, I'm not going to be able to get one. 5 minutes later, the page refreshes, and I am not able to pre-order one. I have to reconfirm, like, my password. Like, it asked me to put in my password again. I put it in. I'm able to add it to cart. Check out with no issues. So with that, I got 2 pre-orders. Somehow, I was able to get 2. So I have the Target one, which, again, I'm very worried about. Because, like, literally, why wouldn't I be worried? It's just, everybody else is kind of, you know, oh my god, my Target order got canceled. People who got the order at the same time I did have had their orders canceled. And mine feels way more dubious than that. So obviously I'm worried about Target. But I've got Best Buy. It's pickup. It's a pickup order. So it's at a local store, you know. I'm not waiting for them to ship it or anything like that. So I'm not worried about Best Buy at all. At least at the moment. You know, we'll see how things go down in the future. I have been told, you know, if you were able to get one at Best Buy for pickup, do not change it. Do not schedule it. You know, do not change pickup person. Just leave it as is. Don't fuck with it. Or else, who knows what's going to happen. And that's kind of advice in general. So I get the Best Buy one. And around the time, right after I finish the Best Buy one, Wario64 puts up a tweet that says GameStop has abandoned the line. That if you refresh the page, it should take you to a new tab where you can just add it to cart. No more line, nothing like that. So people, you know, I see people in his replies like, oh, it's not working for me, it's putting me back in line. I'm still in the robot screen. I've given up at Walmart by this point because obviously I didn't need it, but it kept putting me back in the line. So I was stuck on the screen. So eventually I'm like, you know what? I click the link on his tweet, open it in an incognito tab. Open it in incognito, sign in, and I see the screen for pre-order. I did not pre-order a third one. I want to be very clear. I had the opportunity to get a third one, but I've already spent $1,000 fucking at this point. I couldn't justify it. I had the chance. It was there. I could have easily added it to cart. That doesn't mean I was going to check out with... That doesn't mean I would have been able to check out with it. That could have created its own issues. But yes, I did have the opportunity to get one, but I didn't. I got the two, and I'm like, nope, I've already spent so much fucking money. I'm good. That's all my savings. Okay, it's not all my Switch savings, but it's pretty fucking close. So I didn't do Walmart, but I had the opportunity. So that's where it ends. You know, I've got the Best Buy, I've got the Target. They're both confirmed. I've got confirmation emails. With that, I went to bed. The next morning, GameStop goes up at 11. And it was 9 a.m. my time. It was 9 a.m. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just see. Can I get into GameStop? Nope. Server's completely down. And when I see that server down, you know, crash thing, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not even going to try. I could have. I'm sure I could have tried. But I'm like, nah, it's not worth it. I've already got one. I'm all good. So, yeah. I was just like, nope, I'm not even going to worry about it, you know. Now, where do I go for this from here? So, after that, I kind of, you know, I was like, okay, I'm done. I've got my pre-order. I've got what I need. I don't need anything else. And meanwhile, so I have a coworker who didn't work an early shift like I did. And he went to GameStop in person. He was able to get one in person. They had 80. Admittedly, I'm assuming that was a combination of both Mario Kart bundles in non-Mario Kart bundles. But yeah, they had 80 Switches. He was able to get one. And then I have another coworker who was not able to get it. So I'm probably just going to sell it to him for retail price. Because that's the one thing. Like, I was able to get 2 Switches, you know. I did not have as many issues as other people did. Obviously, people had way more issues than I did. Because that's the thing. I am good at getting stuff like this. As long as I don't use my powers for evil. That's the thing. Oh, do you want a Switch too? Yep, sure, you can get one. But if you scalp it, you lose your powers. Do you want a PS5? Oh yeah, here's a PS5. But if you try to scalp it, you lose your powers. I have the power to get stuff like this, but I cannot use it for evil. Which honestly, I'm perfectly fine with. I know some people will look at this and be like, no, you gotta be greedy, you gotta scalp it. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. And I was kind of with the second one. I was like, you know what, it's nice to have a backup, but I'm just gonna sell it to like a coworker or a friend. You know, most of my friends were able to get one who wanted one, but I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna sell it to somebody else. I'm gonna sell it at retail price. I'm not gonna scalp it. So I'm not, you know, I've got 2, but I'm not gonna use it for evil. I've got these powers. You know, I was able to get everyone this week has been talking about how hard it was to get a PS5 at launch. Oh my god, it was so difficult to get a PS5. I had no problem getting a PS5. Like, sure, was it a lot like this where, you know, websites were crashing and there were tons of issues? Of course it was like this. But yeah, I was able to get a PS5, no problem. A lot of other Nintendo, you know, some of the early amiibos I was able, some of the later amiibos, like right when they were just getting easier to get, I was able to get with no problem. The Tears of the Kingdom Definitive Edition that I already talked about, no problem. Just as long as I don't scalp. That's... I know that's not how... Like, I didn't actually make any, like, deal with the devil or anything like that. But that's how, like, I like to think about it. Like, yeah, I can get what I need. As long as I don't use it for evil. It's, of course, not perfect. Like, they don't always work, mind you. Like, way back when I was an Achievement Hunter fan, there was the Regulation podcast, and they did Gerplers, which was like the, you know, the Pizza Hut cups, the red plastic Pizza Hut cups, Cambria number 5, or whatever the plastic is called. They did Gerplers, and I was like, oh, that's really cool merch. I want one of those. Nope, my powers didn't work there. They did work to get me an Extra Life poster, though, that I still do have hanging up. But, yeah, no, outside of that, I've got these powers as long as I don't use them for evil. It was one of those things where, like, early in the day, I wasn't worried at all. I was not worried about getting a Switch 2 pre-order, but as times got closer, as we get into our first news story today, I started to get more and more worried. Because there was a part of me, like, earlier in the week, that was like, you know, people have spent this entire week bitching, the past 2 weeks, right? Bitching and moaning about the Switch 2's price. That, oh, the Switch 2 is too expensive. The games are too expensive. And there's a part of me that's like, okay, if people are bitching and moaning this much, then maybe the pre-orders are going to be very easy because not as many people are going to buy it because it's too expensive. That was kind of my hope, that things were going to be a little easier because, you know, nobody was buying. That's not what happened. Obviously, you know, there were people who definitely were bitching and moaning about the price and then bought one anyways. You know, the people who are actually bitching and moaning about the price are, you know, Ronald Reagan's silent majority. Or not Ronald Reagan's silent majority. Whatever that bullshit term is. You know, one of Ronald Reagan's many lies. They're the vocal minority. So, like, you have, like, the 20 people yelling and bitching about the price. But then the remaining 80% actually doesn't care. Like, they're like, yeah, you know, I love Nintendo. Of course I'm going to pay $450. Oh, I love Mario Kart. And getting it for $30 cheaper? Yeah, that's a good deal for me. So yeah, that's what I'm betting happened. I don't think it's, you know, that big of a thing. All the accessories are still on sale. I did not buy any accessories. Like, maybe if I hadn't bought a second one, I would have bought, like, a Pro Controller or something. Because I don't really need that camera. I don't need a set of Joy-Cons. I don't need a charging grip. Right. I would have maybe bought a Pro Controller. But because that didn't go on sale, I'm just like, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna worry about that. I can always get, like, I can go on, like, I can open Best Buy's website right now and get a Pro Controller, no issue. Like, those are not selling out. And obviously, those have been affected by tariffs way worse than, like, the console itself. At least as of this moment. Things might get worse, mind you. So yeah, I didn't get that. They did also put up amiibos. And you know me, I've got a lot of amiibos. And they put up the champions for Tears of the Kingdom. And I was like, you know, I do have some money still. And I did also get paid that day. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll buy those amiibos. You know, take a hit. You know, I can go a week without just on ramen. You know, I can do that just for some amiibos because God, they're so fucking expensive. And then the Best Buy puts up 3 of the amiibos. They put up Riju, they put up Tulin, and they put up Sidon. They do not put up Yonobo. And here we are 2 days later, and Best Buy still hasn't put up Yonobo. Neither has GameStop. Neither has Target. I don't even know if Walmart fucking has Amiibo. So, for some reason, this is probably a Nintendo thing. The Yonobo Amiibos have not gone up. And I'm like, I'm probably not going to buy, because I want to buy them all at once. I mean, that's going to be, what, fucking $120? God. Fucking Donald Trump. Man. I mean, I know they were already supposed to be 20, but now they're an extra 10. And I'm not getting the Street Fighter. I don't give a shit about the Street Fighter amiibos. Man, fucking Donald Trump. Thanks, Trump. So I haven't pulled the trigger on that. I'm kind of like, you know, whenever that Yunobo goes up, then maybe I'll do it. I don't know why it didn't go up. Nobody knows. You know, the subreddit's kind of melting down. Like, you know, our precious Yunobo. Yunobo can't hurt you anymore. But I'm like, I'm not, you know, woo, wow, I get to afford food for another week. Yay, thanks, Trump. Oh, wait, you made eggs $20 for 12? Oh, fuck you. Because that's the whole reason people voted for him, because they wanted cheaper eggs. God, we live in hell. And it's only gonna get worse. It's only gonna get worse. Alright, so there's our Scythers. Where the fuck are there just Laprases here in the field? Like, they're water creatures, right? Maybe let's go check them out in the field. I mean, that sound... Because that's the whole reason I have Palafin. I grabbed it right before we started. Because I was like, oh, wait, we're going after Lapras today. I should probably grab Palafin back, just so that we have it. Because I didn't have Palafin last week, and that clearly screwed everything up. Alright. So yeah, that was my Switch 2 pre-ordering experience. Yes. Was I greedy? I don't think so. As I understand it, and someone who actually knows the Bible, you know, not like someone like, you know, the Pope. God, I hope I don't want to talk about this too much, but I will say I liked the Pope. Pope Francis, he was a cool Pope. He wasn't perfect, you know. I still, like, I remember when he first started, he wasn't exactly down with gay marriage. But he got better over time. You know, he said some good shit. He was a nice, progressive pope. And I really hope the next pope is as progressive as he is. I'm very worried for obvious reasons. And, like, I'm not really religious, but even still, even though I'm not really religious, I can still be like, yeah, I liked the pope. He was a cool pope. How did I get here? What was I talking about? How did I get to the Pope? Oh yeah, greed. I don't think, because the fact that I'm not, like, if you are a scalper, that is like textbook greed, right? Or you're using somebody else's envy, their jealousy, to try to convince them to spend more money on a Switch. That's all. Scalping is a sin. But, you know, me, you know, giving it to someone, or selling it, because I'm not going to give it away, obviously. It's $500. Like that. But, you know, selling it to someone at market price who wasn't able to get one. That's not great. At least, that's not how I view it. But, you know, I want someone who actually knows the Bible to, you know, back me up on that. Because greed specifically has to be in the harm level. That's all the sins. All the sins, they're only sins if they're in harm of others. Or, I guess yourself, but... also others, because, like, I know sloth is... Gluttony and sloth can be, like, harming yourself, but it can also definitely be... You know, if you're the only one eating and nobody else is, that's definitely gluttony. I don't mean to go off on a religious chat. You know, the Pope. The Pope. Alright, let's move on. You know, I don't know how we got off of those side tangents. Let's talk about the news. So we got 3 stories. Of course, 2 of them are Switch 2 related. I'm not going to talk about any of, like, there were many news articles written about the Switch 2 pre-orders. Like, oh, is the Switch on track to be the fastest selling console of all time? Oh my gosh, what's this about Switch 2 pre-orders? Oh, the fact that all these websites crashed. What does this tell us? There were a bunch of news stories like that. Let's not worry about those. I do have one pre-order story, but it's specifically from Nintendo themselves and Nintendo Japan. So we got that. I want to talk about game key cards. Because, you know, people were freaking out a while ago about game key cards. And I was like, no, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. And it's still kind of not. But it is also still, like, I was like, oh, this is bad. Then I was like, okay, this isn't as bad. And now I'm like, this is a little worse. Again, specifically talking about Japan. So I'll talk about that. And then I want to talk about Oblivion real quick. I don't have much to say on Oblivion, but I do want to just mention it anyways. So Switch 2 pre-orders went up in Japan, or at least they're going up in Japan through Nintendo's website. So this is specifically Nintendo selling Switches through their own website, and they tweeted out that they have received 2.2 million orders for the Switch 2. That far exceeds their expectations. Obviously, 2.2 million is a lot, but that's also more than they can produce for Japan by June 5th. So while, yes, they've taken 2.2 million Switch 2 pre-orders, they are not going to be able to fill all of those by June 5th. They do still plan on filling all those orders, you know, by some point in the year, but specifically by June 5th, they will not be able to fill all that. Now, how did they hit 2.2 million so fast? You know, I've seen a lot of speculation, specifically the fact that there is a Japanese-only version of the Switch that only plays Japanese exclusive games, only is specifically Japanese region locked, that they can sell for a cheaper price. So that is definitely probably a contributing factor. Well, let me see. Let me pull up the official statement. I do have it written down here. Or I have it bookmarked from Mario 64 on Twitter. So this is just translate. So yeah, it's Nintendo says it receives 2.2 million applications to pre-order the Nintendo Switch 2 in Nintendo's Japan store. The numbers far exceed our expectations and far exceed the number of Nintendo Switch 2 consoles that can be delivered from the My Nintendo store on June 5th. Users not selected will carry over to a second lottery, but still won't be able to fulfill all applications. So they're going to do a lottery. I want to say they say they're doing it on May 5th. So on May 5th, they're going to do or May 8th, I mean. They're going to do a lottery. If your name gets called, let's just say they have like 100, not 100, I was going to say 100 times. Let's say they have 1 million units. They have 1 million units for launch day. They're going to do a lottery. They'll fill, you know, if your name gets picked, you get one of those million. And then they're going to do a second lottery that maybe has like another 500,000. And then they're going to do a third lottery that has another 500,000. And that's just to fill Japan. That is just Japan that we know of. There are obviously going to be more in the West, probably. I don't know. I know I've seen a lot of people say that Nintendo's plan to stop scalpers has been just to make so many of these consoles that everyone will be able to get one. That's Nintendo's plan at the moment, is to make so many consoles that everyone will be able to get one. Or, you know, if you don't get one, maybe a friend gets one that, you know, they'll be able to get to you. You know, that you shouldn't have to pay scalper prices, that it will be possible to get one. Now, that's in theory, a good idea. That, you know, if you make enough of these things, the scalpers will never be able to scalp them, because you will always just be able to go to a store and buy one. That's a good idea. But with how fast these Switch 2 pre-orders have sold, it now begs the question, did they make enough? Even though, you know, they're trying to fill all these orders, that they have made so many that, you know, they're going to be able to stop scalpers. Did they make enough? Or are people so insatiably hungry for the Switch 2 that even with all the orders they made, they didn't do enough. Because that was the big problem with the PS5. Is that they didn't make enough PS5s because of COVID, obviously. Like, obviously, that's the whole reason they didn't make enough. Because they couldn't. They literally, physically could not. And then, you know, because, you know, it became rare, people were able to scalp it. Demand went up because, you know, FOMO's a hell of a drug, man. I've always known this, or at least for the longest time. FOMO is a hell of a drug. And, like, the PS5's at, like, 65 million units sold. And the console's got, like, 10 games at most. 10 exclusives, anyways. And I'm convinced most of that's FOMO. That, you know, PS5 rare, people want PS5. Oh, of course, part of it's just, oh, I'm going to play Fortnite. I'm going to play Madden. I'm going to play the new Call of Duty every year. I know a lot of it is that. But honestly, it kind of blows my mind that the PS5 has done so well for how few exclusives it has. Like, there is a decent chance that within the first year of the Switch, Nintendo will have released more exclusives for the Switch in 1 year than the PS5 has done in 5. That is entirely possible. I know that sounds crazy, but yeah. And I know some people will say, well, oh, what about this thing? What about this thing? And yeah, I'm sure we can get into semantics, but you know what I mean. And don't even get me started on Xbox. Okay, we'll talk about it here in a second. But Xbox doesn't give a shit about exclusives anymore. Honestly, money is money for them. And when you spend $60 billion to buy a company, you'll take whatever you can get. Because you got to remake that money somehow. Because Papa Bill is not happy. Oh my gosh. It's been a day. It's been a week, honestly. It has been a week. Anything else I gotta say about these? It's just, you know, 2.2 million's a lot. Just, you know, pre-order alone, already starting off. I do wonder, of course, when we're going to see the numbers. It's probably not going to be until, what, Q3 investors meeting sometime in the fall. Yeah, we're not, there might be one late June. There might be one like June 30th. That could be maybe the earliest we get, like, early estimates. But it's going to be really curious. I do not think the Switch 2 is going to sell as well as the Switch 1. I don't know if it's going to have the biggest launch ever, especially because we are entering a recession. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but it looks pretty likely. So, I don't know if it can beat that, but it might still do insanely well. Man, again, FOMO is a hell of a drug, and Mario Kart's a good game. Despite all the myriad of problems people are worried about, I still think Mario Kart, that's a game that sells systems. So let's talk about third-party games. You know, we've been talking a lot about first-party. There are a lot of third-party games coming to Switch 2. And we learned from Gamatsu this week. You know, Nintendo, when they put up all their pre-orders, they put up a bunch of pre-orders for games. And basically, every game, except for Cyberpunk, every third-party game, except for Cyberpunk, in Japan, is a game keycard. So if you do not know what that is, basically, Nintendo is doing this new thing on Switch 2, where when you buy a game, certain games, on the box, it'll say this game is a game keycard. And basically, you put the game into that little cartridge into your system, and it downloads a copy of that game off of the internet, and you need the game keycard in your system to play that game. But in theory, you could take the game keycard out, lend it to a friend, and they will be able to download the game on their system and play it. So it's kind of like a shareable digital download code, which I do not hate, by the way. That's not, like, I'd still rather own a game, obviously. Like, obviously, I'd rather own games, and there's the whole question of, do we even own games or movies or TV to begin with? The answer is technically no, but yar, har, shiver me be, and all that stuff. You know, people will find ways to own things one way or another. You know, they'll sail the seven seas if they have to. But, you know, this could be worse. Like, on the Switch, there are none of this. Instead, you just buy a box, an empty game box, that just comes with a download code. That's kind of how it currently works on Switch. So having this game key card, it's at least a little better. The idea that you can buy a game and share it with a friend is at least a little better. I at least like that a little bit more. And this is kind of how these game key cards are kind of already how it works on PlayStation and Xbox, where, you know, there you buy a disc and then it has to download the disc onto the console and download updates on the internet. And the disc is basically just a disc key card. So this is kind of how it works on other consoles. But yeah, I guess in Japan, basically every third-party game is a game key card. So like first parties like Mario Kart and Donkey Kong aren't. Those are not game key cards. Cyberpunk, CD Projekt Red, specifically went out of their way to make sure Cyberpunk could fit on a Switch 2 cartridge. You get the entire game on the cartridge. So that's specifically CD Projekt Red's thing. But no other company did that in Japan, I guess. I guess in Japan, they're going big on the game key cards. So you see stuff like, let me see, do I recognize? Yakuza 0, game key card. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, game key card. Daemon X Machina, game key card. Sonic and Shadow Generations, game key card. And then, of course, the two we have in America, Bravely Default and Street Fighter 6, are game key cards. And, of course, there's a few other RPGs and whatnot that I don't recognize. But yeah, basically everything in Japan that's a third-party game is a game key card. In the West, I think it's a little better. I think the only two game key cards that we know about as of this moment, this is, of course, subject to change, is Bravely Default and Street Fighter. Those are the two we know about for sure. Oh, Madden. The other one we know about is Madden 26 is going to be a game key card. I want to say we did find out about that one, I think, yesterday. But so those are the three we know. However, as we also learned from EA is still going to be doing digital download codes, where they sell you an empty box with a digital download code in it. And specifically, the game is Split Fiction. If you buy Split Fiction on Nintendo Switch 2, if you buy a physical version, it is just a box with a download code. They couldn't even be bothered to do a game key card. It's just a download code. Like, at least give us the digital game key card. Like, I know it's not perfect, but you could at least do that. Like, that's the I feel like that if Nintendo's going to go through the effort of creating this game key card thing, at least fucking use it. But EA's being EA, of course. Which is weird that, because EA is Madden as well, right? It's weird that they're doing that for it's a game key card for Madden, but not for Split Fiction, even though it's the same, you know, publisher. Not the same studio, because Hazelight's the developer, but still. And I guess let's just finish that. So yeah, that's... this does, of course, bring up is game key cards going to be a more prevalent trend? Right, so far we had seen 2 out of like a dozen Switch games with game key cards, but now it looks like they're going to be more common. And so that does have me a little worried. Of course, we'll see. I don't know. You know, I was watching I think it was Arlo. It might have been someone else. But they brought up that, like, it feels like we're now in a different era of Nintendo. That in the past, like, 3 or 4 weeks since the Switch 2 reveal, it feels like we're in a different era of Nintendo. He meant that as, like, a positive thing. Like, oh, it's a good thing that we're in a new era of Nintendo. I don't view it as that. I'm going to be honest, this new era of Nintendo has felt not that good. Like, yes, I'm still excited to play Mario Kart. Donkey Kong looks good. There are other Age of Imprisonment, other stuff. But I definitely do get the vibe that, yeah, we're in a new era of Nintendo. But it's not always for good reasons. The vibes are just off, or I'm worried about things, or, you know, I know people have always bitched and moaned about Nintendo. I've been doing this for over a decade now. I know people bitch and moan about Nintendo. Nothing new there. But I'm just a little... It's not that it feels different. It does feel different, but it feels different on Nintendo's end. Nintendo fanboys bitching and moaning, that's nothing new. But just something about it feels different. They're not passing the vibe check. And I'm not talking about, like, the vibe check that got people to vote for Donald Trump even though he's a rapist. Right? I'm not talking about that kind of vibe check. Okay, it's not completely unrelated, but you know what I mean. Ugh, God. All right, let's end on a positive story. Let's end on a positive news story. Oblivion. So last week it kind of leaked. We got some screenshots of Elder Scrolls Oblivion. Technically, this is something we've known about for a while now. Specifically, when Microsoft was in talks to buy Activision Blizzard King, they specifically, in their court filings, they had to, like, talk about their financials and whatnot. And in that, we found out they were doing a remake of Oblivion, and they're doing a Fallout 3 remake. So we've known about this for a while now. And then I think a few weeks ago, somebody mentioned it was going to be a shadow drop. And then, of course, last week we got all those image leaks. So this week on... what was it, the 22nd? I can't remember. I think it was the 22nd. Early in the morning... Technically, I think it was the day before, but Bethesda puts out a thing, hey, for tomorrow. So early on, we get this direct, and it's just Bethesda. It's a quick, like, 10-minute at most thing. It probably was a little longer than that, but it was a quick thing. Bethesda comes out, you know, you've got Todd, you've got a lot of the developers, they come out, they talk about the game, they talk about how, you know, for people who love Oblivion, this is supposed to be a love letter to those people who love Oblivion. You know, yes, sure, are they putting the game in, like, this weird amalgamation of Creation Engine and Unreal Engine 4? Yes, but, you know, the game looks a lot better, it's been refined a little bit, but they're still keeping the things people love about Oblivion. You know, the character creator's still very fucking weird. All the weird dialogue that, you know, people love is still gonna be there. Like, there's a line in Oblivion where a woman gives the line. She says, like, oh no, I messed that up, can we do another take? And then she does a second take, and somehow that was left in the original game. And it's still in the remake. You can still find that dialogue in the remake. Not because they didn't care, but because they cared enough to know that, yeah, people care about this. Of course we're going to keep that dialogue in. It'd be like, I want to say, I can't remember the line in Resident Evil 4. I'm completely spacing on it right now. But it'd be like, if you remove that, it's a dumbass line. But if you removed it, that would be a problem. And I want to say they left it in. Even though they redid all the dialogue, I want to say they left that line in. I cannot remember the line for the life of me. My brain is completely blanking on it. But, you know, all that stuff, you know, the things that people loved about Oblivion, it's all still there. So if you like the original, you'll like the remake. Admittedly, I don't know if people liked Oblivion. Can I be honest? In my memory, which is probably completely wrong, I know people liked Morrowind. People liked Morrowind, and then they didn't like Oblivion. And then they felt like Fallout 3 was just Oblivion with guns. Not guns that could shoot. Guns that spawned bullets in front of them, because Bethesda didn't know how to make a shooter. Then Skyrim was just Fallout 3, but with, you know, swords and magic again. Fallout 4 was just Skyrim with guns. And then, Starfield is just I would say Fallout 4, but in space. But it's actually probably more accurately Skyrim with guns in space. Yeah. I feel like there's been this Bethesda trend of, hey, this is just Oblivion with guns. Right? That they've basically just been making the same game over and over again, but changing the weapon. And because of that, there's a part of me in my head that's like, do people not like Oblivion? But then, you know, listening to people talk about Oblivion since this remake's come out, it's clear that no, people did really like Oblivion. Maybe it was a cult classic thing, but yeah, people have a lot of fondness for Oblivion. I've never played it. I want to be very clear, I have never played Oblivion, but I definitely did see some of that love. Definitely, like, things like the Adoring Fan. Like, I remember when they added the Adoring Fan to Starfield, and it was like, oh yeah, hey, I get that callback. Which, because even I knew about, like, some of these things from Oblivion, like the Annoying Fan. Which is just kind of like a fun thing. And I love, there's one clip I saw where he says, yes, you can follow me around to the Annoying Fan. Kills him, and then he just keeps coming back, and it's just, why won't you die? Like, exactly what you want from the Annoying Fan. And it's kind of like when Pikmin 1 and 2 re-released on Switch, and it was like, oh, seeing people learn that Pikmin can't swim, you know, red and yellow Pikmin can't swim for the first time. Or people going to the submerged castle for the first time. It was like, oh my god, this is so much fun, you know? Looking back on the thing I did like 10, 20 years ago, and seeing people experience it for the first time. That's very much the vibes I'm getting with people playing Oblivion for the first time. As it's like, oh yeah, here's a bunch of like classic clips. And now it's people getting to experience this for the first time. People using the character creator to make just fucking monsters. It's honestly been a great week. It's been very entertaining. I know for Nintendo, we've been talking a lot about corporate greed. You know, Nintendo, you know, taking a game, giving it an upgrade edition, and charging you an extra $10 without the DLC. Right, that's been Nintendo right now, is they're upgrading our games, but only charging $10 more and not giving us a definitive edition. Nope, this game is $50 for a full game, plus all the DLC. However, there is a digital deluxe edition that is $60 that, you know, comes with a bunch of like little items and whatnot, including the horse armor. The first piece of DLC, at least that people really consider the first piece of DLC, Oblivion's horse armor is back. It is part of the deluxe edition. So yeah, you know, we're talking about all this corporate greed stuff. This is none of that. I mean, yeah, no, this is not that. There's clearly a level of, this is a love letter. For people who love Oblivion, this is a love letter for you. And on top of all that, it's on Game Pass. Same day, you know, this was a shadow drop. It dropped April 22nd. And if you want it on Game Pass, it's also on Game Pass. So that's great. Honestly, the biggest concern I've seen people have with it is the fact that Clara Expedition 33 also came out this week. And people worried that, hey, dropping a new, you know, Elder Scrolls game is going to overshadow that. And so it's been interesting to see Microsoft basically try to do like a whole, hey, get Game Pass. That way you get both Oblivion and Clara Expedition 33 for the price of less than both games. Like, that's kind of the Microsoft shifting strategy. Because I've heard great things about that Expedition 33. I'm not going to play it. But I've heard, for people who are into it, I've heard that's a great game. So, you know, I just bitched about, you know, Sony not having any exclusives. Microsoft just pulled out 2 games this week that people are excited for. Are neither of them exclusive? No. Because guess what? It's also on PS5 and PC, obviously. But yeah, no, you can play Oblivion on PS5 if you want. At least as far as I know, you can play it right now. I admittedly have not double-checked that, but as far as I know, if I open up this PlayStation app here, I'll be able to download it or buy it. But I really think Microsoft has pulled off a win here. Yep, I can buy it right now for $50. So yeah, Microsoft has somehow pulled out a massive win this week. When, you know, people are big mad at Nintendo even though they're all buying the console. Microsoft's doing great this week. And guess what? I know people will be like, well, it's not a console exclusive. Guess what? Microsoft doesn't care. As long as you're buying their game, they're getting money. Doesn't matter if you're buying a PlayStation or an Xbox or whatnot, you're still getting money. It doesn't even matter if you own a console. They, I want to say also this week they added Game Pass streaming to LG TVs. So if you have, like, Game Pass streaming is on my Samsung TV, but if you have an LG, you can now do Game Pass streaming on that without even having to own a console. That's kind of seems to be, you know, Microsoft, yeah, sure, is the Xbox dying? Kind of. But I kind of feel like Microsoft doesn't care because they're putting their games everywhere. Everything's an Xbox, and that's how they're staying ahead. That's how they're winning. Meanwhile, PlayStation's selling consoles that have no games on them. And then, you know, Nintendo's being Nintendo. They're in their own league. You know, everyone, you know, PlayStation and Xbox are playing baseball, and Nintendo's over there playing Banana Ball, having a great time, and occasionally Xbox joins in and plays Banana Ball with them and has a great time. It's just kind of working out. I know that seems weird, like the way I say it, but it makes sense. At least it makes sense in my head. All right, so I guess let's go to WIBE. We only have to get Porygon, and we need 3 of them. Hopefully that takes like half an hour. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how much I have left. Obviously, I feel like, you know, I got through my big topic in the time I wanted to. We got through the news in like half an hour. I do really need something to drink right now, but ugh, the only thing I have is this Warhead soda, and fuck that. Fuck that. I've already drank it too. I've had too much sugar today. Because I had both a Baja Blast and a shake. And yeah, I've had too much. So I don't need that. But ugh, it has been a day. We're not even going to have to leave the savannah biome. Literally everything we need is right here. So for we got 2 food things. I mentioned Baja Blast. We got Taco Bell to talk about. Taco Bell re-released their nuggets, so we're gonna talk about those. And I finally got to try the sauce. Then we got to talk about Whataburger, because I think last week I talked. It might have been 2 weeks ago. I talked about trying to get a Whataburger shake, and their shake machine was broken. At least I think I talked about that. I'll retell the story anyways. But yeah, I finally did get that shake. I got that today as well. And then, I guess we'll talk about Splatoon 3 real quick. And maybe I might have an anime. I might. And yeah, that's basically it. So yeah. So let's start with Taco Bell. So Taco Bell re-released their nuggets. And look, there's our first shiny already. Taco Bell has nuggets. I know that's, you know, a taco place doing nuggets, and they're not in like a taco. It's just kind of like standalone nuggets. It's something that shouldn't work. I'll be honest, when I first heard Taco Bell nuggets, I was like, okay, that's weird, I'll try it, but I expect nothing from this. And then I was genuinely impressed. I was genuinely like, yeah, no, Taco Bell nuggets, not bad. Not bad at all. When they first released, this was a while ago. So obviously I was like, yeah, I enjoy these. These are pretty good. The problem was, at the time, I ordered all 3 of the sauces, because they have their Bell sauce, they have a Chipotle honey mustard, and then they have a ranch mixed with their fire sauce, that, you know, the fire sauce they use on their tacos. And I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. The first time I went, they didn't give me any sauce. Or, no, it was the first time they went, they only gave me the Bell sauce and the Chipotle honey mustard. They didn't have the ranch. Like, already, like, the thing had only been out for like a day or 2, and they just didn't have any ranch. They were already sold out. And then I think I went a second time to like a different location, and they just didn't give me any sauces whatsoever. So I never got to try the Fire Ranch. So this time I was like, yeah, I gotta make sure I try that Fire Ranch. I got more of the Bell sauce. I did not get any more of the Chipotle honey. Chipotle honey mustard. I did not really like it. I feel like that's more of an... I know some people did, so maybe it's more of an acquired taste. But I thought the Bell sauce was decent. I couldn't tell you what it compares to. Like, it's not a Raising Cane sauce. I have no idea what to compare it to. And then obviously ranch is ranch. But this time I tried them. The nuggets, I still think are solid. I've had, like, you know how people, like they like Raising Canes, but specifically for the cane sauce. Like, you don't go to Raising Canes for the chicken. You don't go to Raising Canes for the fries or the coleslaw. You go for the cane sauce and the Texas toast. And even so, the Texas toast isn't that big of a deal. That's kind of like... Yeah, you know, not every chicken place has the best chicken. But Taco Bell, surprisingly, like, I think they put tortilla chips into their breading. And I don't know, I think the chicken's good. Like, it wasn't undercooked, it's not overcooked. Like, that's my big problem with Wendy's. Oh, fuck, I do have a Wendy's thing. Oh my gosh, I do have a Wendy's thing. Oh, I forgot to mark that down. We'll talk about that. But yeah, no, Taco Bell, their chicken is surprisingly decent. Is it the, like, yeah, do I have more, like, nostalgia and whatnot for, like, a McDonald's nug? Sure. But I don't mind Taco Bell's chicken at all. If you're even just slightly curious, I would recommend giving it a try. I was thoroughly like, yeah, no, this is good. And I know they're going to start working its way into, like, tacos and whatnot. So they're going to start working on that eventually. And then I think they've also said that in 2026, they plan on making the chicken nuggets a permanent menu item. Which, I mean, at that point, you know, you go to Taco Bell, you get chicken nuggets, and you get fries. I mean, that's a whole different restaurant at this point. And I know, like, a lot of places are doing, like, new restaurants. McDonald's has Cosmix. Taco Bell has the Live Moss Cafe. KFC has one called, like, Saucy or something like that. Taco Bell is basically turning into, you know, yeah, sure, they're Taco Bell, but they've also basically a chicken restaurant. Like, they could reinvent themselves as a chicken and fries restaurant, like Raising Cane's, and I honestly think they'd get away with it. Because it's pretty decent all around. But yeah, so thoughts on the sauce. I still think the Bell sauce is perfectly good. I think it goes well with the chicken. It's not too strong, it's not spicy or anything like that. I have no idea what to compare it to. Like, there's a part, you know, like the Chick-fil-A sauce. Like, imagine Taco Bell's take on, like, a Chick-fil-A sauce. That's like the closest thing I can think of comparing it to. And even still, I don't think that covers it. But no, I still do like that one. I didn't get the honey mustard. I was like, no, I'm good. I don't need to try that one again. But I did get the ranch. I made sure to be like, hey, you put the sauce in here, right? Because where did I get fucked over recently? Because they're not the only place to fuck me over with sauce. There was another place that recently fucked me over with sauce. It was it Wendy's? I can't remember. I know some other place fucked me over with sauce recently. And I was like, oh, this sucks. This is so dry. This is so disappointing. I don't remember. This was like 3 or 4 weeks ago. I can't remember. Was it? Maybe I'm thinking of maybe it was KFC. I know KFC's fucked me over on the sauce more than once. But I tried the ranch. Honestly, for a cup ranch, when it comes to ranch, I'm a big believer in homemade ranch. I think, like, Hidden Valley Ranch, not that good. Because, you know, it needs to have a shelf life. The preservatives they put into it just kind of kill the flavor. I think homemade is the way to go. You know, you can buy the seasoning packets, dump that in, you know, with some mayo and some, if you have heavy whipping cream or something like that, half and half. definitely heavy whipping cream. Right? If you've got that, it makes a really good ranch. Way better than any store-bought one. And like that, there are certain places that do like little cup ranches better than others. You know, like I have very mixed, like I like fried zucchini from Carl's Jr. And they do a ranch and a house dressing. And I'm like, sometimes it's okay, but sometimes it's just ew. And same thing with like McDonald's or Wendy's. Like, I don't get a ranch from a McDonald's or a Wendy's. I'd much rather have like a sweet and sour or a barbecue or something like that. But I was like, you know what? I'll try it. You know, it's interesting. A kind of spicy ranch. Honestly, it's not bad. It is, for a cup ranch, it is not bad at all. The fire sauce adds a little bit of heat, but it's not spicy by any means. Like, you could probably get like an actual like Chipotle sauce. Or, you know, something like a spice. Like, I've had spice, like that Nether fire sauce. That was it. That was the place that fucked me over, McDonald's. I went to get that Nether sauce, and they just didn't give it to me. That's what it was. But I did eventually try that. That Nether sauce is spicier than this. But honestly, that's no big deal. I didn't need it to be that spicy. It's a ranch after all. And yeah, so I think Taco Bell chicken nuggets are pretty decent. I'd recommend them. There are far worse nuggets you could get out there. Taco Bell, not for being Taco Bell, not bad at all. Sauces are decent. I mean, 2 out of 3 is not bad. I've seen other, I know McDonald's is doing like a creamy Chipotle next week when they re-release the tenders for the snack wraps. And I'm like, you know, it might be good, but I'm not really super excited about that. But no, Taco Bell, not bad at all. I know I said that last time, but you expect it to be way worse than it actually is. All right, so next up, last week I went to try Whataburger shake. I went there specifically to get a banana milkshake. They got banana pudding. They've also got like a mushroom burger or something like that. I'm not a big mushroom guy, and like, sure, I can do a fried mushroom. I've done like some other stuff with mushrooms, but I'm not a big mushroom guy. Wendy's did a mushroom burger last year that I just didn't really care for. So I wasn't like, I didn't need the mushroom burger. I was good. I'd rather get something I like. But I was like, oh, banana pudding shake. I know they've had it before, but bringing it back, I was like, that's good. Shake machine broken. So I didn't get one. But then today, right, so I went for dinner tonight after getting off work. I went and got Taco Bell, and my roommate went and got Whataburger. And they were like, oh, well, do you want anything? And I was like, yeah, see if they have the milkshake machine working. It was, so I got to try that today. And yeah, it's not bad. It's a banana pudding milkshake. It is exactly what you would expect it to be. But I liked it. I definitely don't know if I'd like get it again. But it was not bad. It was not bad at all. I don't really have much of a comparison for it. Like, I don't think, like I think of other shakes they've had, like the Dr. Pepper one, where it's like, oh, yeah, you gotta get a Dr. Pepper shake. You gotta try it. Even if it's not your thing, you gotta try it. Just because that's weird, man. The banana pudding, that's more of like a standard shake thing. I feel like Chick-fil-A's done that one before as well. I don't know. I don't go to Chick-fil-A that much. Like, legitimately, the only times I go to Chick-fil-A is like when a roommate does. And they'll be like, do you want anything? Other than that, I'm not really a Chick-fil-A guy for obvious reasons. But no, I think it was fine. It was a fine shake. I didn't get anything else from there, but no, I wanted to try it. There's a part of me that kind of wishes they did like, you know, wafer pieces or something, but it's no sweat off my back. So, yeah, let's talk about Wendy's. So I think I went to Wendy's on Monday, which is probably why I forgot to put it on this list. Wendy's did a Cajun chicken sandwich and I have it written down as orange lemonade. I think it was specifically like, it's called like Tangerine Twist or something like that. Like it's got like a fancy name. But I think did we talk about this last week? I might have mentioned this last week. Because I went, oh yeah, I did. Because I tried to get one last week. Because I went to Wendy's for breakfast. And when I went, I was kind of like, usually I order a blueberry pomegranate lemonade. Because I think Wendy's has either the best or the second best lemonades. That's my honest opinion. Wendy's has some really good lemonade. Yeah, it's called Tangerine Twist. The only place that really kind of rivals them is probably Chick-fil-A. I like Cane's lemonade, and it's good, but I feel like Wendy's has more, I don't want to say texture. Chick-fil-A has more texture. I think they put pulp in theirs. Yeah. I don't know. Cane's lemonade is good, but it's not watered down, but it's kind of like missing something. Whereas, Wendy's just has that. At least for me, anyways. I could totally see someone disagreeing. But I like their flavors. They've got a strawberry, they've got a pineapple mango, and then they used to have a blueberry pomegranate. I loved the blueberry pomegranate. I would always recommend it. But they took that off the menu. Because of this new one, this Tangerine Twist, they have removed blueberry pomegranate. And that breaks my heart, because I really liked that blueberry pomegranate. I thought that was so good. Luckily, I did. I loved it so much that I just started buying the syrup, so that way I could recreate it myself. And it works. It's admittedly, when you recreate it yourself, it's stronger than what they use, because, they put like a squirt, whereas you're putting like a tablespoon, and that's like a lot more. I found, for me, the ratio is 2 of the pomegranate, 1 of the blueberry. And that kind of gets you, that gets you a good flavor. At least for me, personally. But yeah, so I tried the new Cajun chicken sandwich. It is I just had it pulled up here. It is a Cajun crunchy spicy chicken sandwich, so it is spicy. It's got a spicy mustard. It's got the Cajun crispy onions. It's got crinkle cut, pickles, lettuce, a spicy chicken breast, and pepper jack cheese. And it was fine. It's not their it's not as spicy as like their ghost pepper chicken sandwich, which I don't think they offer anymore. Honestly, they might have replaced this one with the ghost pepper chicken sandwich, because they offered that for a long time. Because that was originally supposed to be like a temporary item, but I think it did so well that they just kept doing it. And that was a good spice. Honestly, in my opinion, that was spicy enough that it like got you that kick, but not so spicy that you didn't want to eat it. As someone who cannot handle spice at all, I want to be very clear. I'm white guy levels of spice. Okay, admittedly, I'm a little better than white guy because, I can, because I'm not southern white guy who finds ketchup spicy. I'm more, Californian white guy. But no, I honestly did I never got it. I only got it 2 or 3 times. But yeah, because I have mixed Wendy's chicken sandwiches have always been hit and miss. This one was fine. I wasn't blown away by it. And then the Tangerine Twist lemonade, I thought was okay. The tangerine was fine. You can definitely taste. It's not like an orange juice. But it's also not when I think of is Ecto Cooler tangerine? What is Ecto Cooler? It's not Ecto Cooler, I'll give you that. I don't know. I think Ecto, because that's one of the best. Ecto Cooler for me personally, it lived up to the hype. As someone who did not have Ecto Cooler until the Ghostbusters 2015 movie, I loved it. Oh yeah, Ecto Cooler is orange tangerine. Yeah, no, Ecto Cooler is great. You can find homemade recipes online, and while they're not 1 for 1, they're good. Yeah, no, this isn't an Ecto Cooler, but you definitely get that hint of lemon, that hint of orange. It's fine. I don't think I'd get it over the other ones. I didn't like the pineapple mango either. I'm more likely to just buy a lemonade and then just mix in my own syrups. That's what I'm more likely to do at this point. And I don't know. We'll see what's happening with those syrups with all the shit RFK's doing. God. It's a fucking mess. But yeah, so, yeah, they were both okay. I don't know. Out of the three things we're talking about tonight, the only one I'd really like, oh yeah, you gotta do that, is the Taco Bell nuggets. Especially if you didn't have them last time. They're definitely worth going out and giving a try. But of course, next week, McDonald's bringing back their... I think they're calling them McCrispy Tenders or something like that. The tenders for the snack wraps. Because McDonald's is probably going to be bringing snack wraps back May or June. But next week they're bringing back the tenders to do a soft run. And then before they do snack wraps. And I know people are excited, but they've got tenders next week. So I'm sure that's going to overshadow everything. But yeah, no, Taco Bell, not to sneeze at. It's good. Did I use that expression right? Whatever. Alright, let's wrap things up. Splatoon 3. Where is my mother in Splatoon 3? Last I think we left off, she was in World 5. She was, working her way, 100%ing basically every world. She went into World 6. She struggled a few times in World 6. There's that ball level. There's the level where you're, the Ultra Stamp. I think it's the Ultra Stamp. And you have to do the bowling balls. She struggled with that one a lot. And there was one other one she struggled with. And there might have been two more she struggled with. I honestly cannot remember. I just remember the bowling ball one. Because she was she could not get it. And she still had 3 more to get and ran out of time. Meanwhile, I was like, okay, let me show you how it's done. And then I did it with 13 seconds to spare. But yeah, she did that one. She worked her way up to the boss. Obviously, she didn't understand the Super Mario Sunshine reference. I did explain it to her. I didn't notice before. You can tell which one Big Man is. Because she's gotten every upgrade, by the way. If you have the upgrades, the one thing that Big Man is disguised as will be red. Whereas all the other manta rays will be yellow. So you can tell which one Big Man is. Because he's a different color. Specifically on the targeting reticule. And she beat Big Man and I think she died once. She lost it, you get 3 lives. She lost 1 and she beat it basically on her second try. Because I've noticed a pattern with her in these games. She struggles with the first boss. And she struggles with the last boss. Every other boss in the middle, no issues whatsoever. She struggled with the Octo Oven in 2, and then she struggled with the final boss, Octavio in 2. She had no issue with the Samurai, with the Shower, with the Stamper. No issues whatsoever. She beat them all in her first, within those first 3 lives. It was just the Oven in the final boss that gave her struggle in 2. And then in the Octo expansion, kind of the same thing. She really only struggled on... Well, technically she struggled on Agent 3. Normal Agent 3, not Inner Agent 3. Just the normal one. She struggled on that one. She struggled on the, the turf war bit at the end. But other than that, she didn't really struggle on anything else in the Octo expansion. And then here in Splatoon 3, she struggled... It took her, a day or 2 to beat Frey. That took her multiple lives. And then she beat Shiver and Big Man on, her first or second try. But now, she's beaten that. So escaping the underground in Splatoon 2 took her a lot of time. Took her multiple days, multiple tries. Some of the, like Agent 3, she really struggled on. She did the rocket climb. Not her first try, but she did everything very easily. The only part she struggled with is there's a point where you have to climb this giant spiral ramp, and the final checkpoint, you have to sneak past a bunch of bowling balls. That was it. That was the only thing she struggled on. Other than that, she did the Zipcaster segment without dying. She did the stealth mission. I don't think she died once. She might have died once. But other than that, you know, she didn't really struggle with the ascent to the rocket at all. She did the rocket, you know, she met Mr. Grizz. She climbed up, you know, she's up in space, and that's kind of where she stopped. She was struggling with Mr. Grizz. She got through phase 1. She's on phase 2. But, you know, the whole rotating of the rocket stuff, and, you know, all the enemies and the bombs coming at you. It's like, okay, she needs a break, and so I'm going over tomorrow to help her out, but she's getting in tomorrow. So I'll tell you that right now, that's going to happen. And then, of course, you know, there's the other stuff. Both the DLC, but also the ultimate challenge. Because she has done it. She's gotten everything. All the Sunken Scrolls, all the Alternal Logs, all the other things. She's done everything. She can do Inner Agent, or she can do the final challenge. I don't think she'll be able to do it. I mean, yeah, maybe she will. I can see her getting to the girls. The fuzzy Octarian girls. I don't remember what their technical name is. But I don't know if she'll be able to do that part. But, you know, we'll find out tomorrow. I think she's going to be able to beat Mr. Grizz pretty solidly. I don't... Like, yeah, I was tripping her up a little bit today, but I think tomorrow she'll be able to do it, no problem. You know, I mean, it'll take her like an hour, but... Yeah, that's no big worry. So, yeah, that's that. And, you know, I guess we got everything we needed to. So I guess that takes us to the end of our show. I know I said I probably have like an anime or something. We'll worry about that next week. Because I'll be honest, the only game I've been playing is Balatro. Yeah, that's it. That's the only game I have been playing is Balatro. Yeah, okay, I played a little bit of Mario Kart. Who cares? Honestly, like, oh wow, you've been watching all this Mario Kart footage. And now you want to play a bit of Mario Kart. Like, who cares? Oh, you booted up Animal Crossing for something. Oh, wow, who cares? You do your daily run of Balatro. Yeah, wow. I still do. Honestly, Balatro's... Balatro cannot be my game of the year this year. But by the time, you know, I'm done with it, it will have been the game I played the most out of anything. Hands down, bar none. Because, you know, I basically do a run a day. And sure, some runs take a while, some runs are really short. But by the end of the year, it'll probably be the game I put the most time into. I don't know, something, you know, I do plan on replaying Tears of the Kingdom. We have a new Mario Kart. Anything's possible, but Balatro's in the lead right now. And it's got a good head start. It does. So yeah. All right. I guess let's go show off what we got today, and let's just go to the end. So what's coming up in the next few weeks? I don't know. Obviously, we'll keep doing this show. That hasn't changed. I mean, we're 17 in. Yeah. Our halfway point's 26? What? 26? I don't know when that'll be sometime in the summer. Other than that, I don't really have anything else planned. I mean, obviously, you know, I've now got a Switch 2 pre-ordered, so we'll do that when that day comes, but that's not until like June 5th. So that is still a ways away, you know, we've still got a lot more until then. But yeah, I don't really have anything else planned. You know, in theory, you know, there's like certain backlog games or whatever that I should be doing. That in theory, you know, we should be focusing on like, oh, well, here's another thing I didn't finish. I don't want to do Skyward Sword, because, you know, I've played basically every Switch Zelda game except for Skyward Sword. I don't want to do that because that would take too long. But, you know, we might find some other shit to do. Yeah. Yeah, I've got nothing planned at the moment. Will we be back with Pokemon next week, doing the Poliwhirls? Maybe? I don't know. I really have no plans at the moment. We'll do something next week. We might just do Splatoon. We might just do Mario Kart. I haven't really decided. But yeah, with that, looking at all of our marvelous shinies, some looking more distinct than others. I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time, peace.